Hello everyone, welcome. Thank you for joining today's Pick a Card reading, which is what is coming your way this February 2021. So we have 3 piles here to choose from, pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. If you want to take a moment and pause the video, meditate on the cards and think which pile is drawing you. We'll find out what is coming your way February 2021 in just one moment. If you chose pile number 1, then this reading is for you to find out what is coming for you February 2021. So I'm going to get started with some of our larger cards here. Right away we're getting the turquoise spiritual path and rhodochrosite. These are from our crystal cards deck, and right away I'm getting this message that you as a leader are being called to make some spiritual transformations or spiritual growth in your life. Being gentle with yourself, that you've been through a lot and need to be really gentle in order to heal and recover. In combination of these two together, I'm seeing that part of being gentle with yourself is developing a sense of spirituality. And I'm not saying that necessarily a particular religion or that you should transition and convert, nothing like that. I'm just saying that part of being gentle with yourself, having self-love and treating yourself well is part of what it means to be a spiritual being. So just recognizing that you are being called to take care of yourself, and with that to identify it as a spiritual practice. We have assurance coming in. So if there's anything that you've been feeling kind of on the edge about, uncertain, this is a message of clarity coming through for you with the assurance card. We're feeling very fruitful now. We're starting to see the growth, just as she has this seed sprouting in her hands, being called in by the light. So there is this aspect of feeling nurtured to grow this February 2021, as well as having creative sparks this February. So, creativity can come from love, right? It can be inspired by love. We know February usually draws in the usual Valentine's Day. It tends to bring in some more kind of sparks, if you will, anyways, because February is typically a time of moving into Aquarius and then Pisces. So at this time, there's usually tending to be more creative sparks anyways with the Aquarius, the water bearer. The water bearer is very similar to the way clouds work with carrying water. And clouds have lightning, thunder. So it's very likely that you're going to be having a creative spark, and that it's going to be love related or passion related. We also have, if we're looking at the numbers, 10 being like this nice balance, right? We've got the void of the 0 and the 1, which is like the grounding part of it. So we have a nice balance with the assurance card that altogether feels very complete. The 8 on the creative spark card feels very infinite. It feels very ongoing and continuous. It's almost like you're starting the creative spark for a very big project. It could be an ongoing project with that number 8. Let's see, what else do we have here? We have the heart guardian, love and let yourself be loved. How fitting is that, right after I was talking about the love with the creative spark coming in just with this timing of February 2021, that there's going to be love filling the air. there's a big emphasis on the heart chakra in general because we have the heart guardian. We have the creative spark in the color green, which is associated with the heart chakra. And then we also have this woman here holding the plant in front of her breast, in front of her heart chakra. So if we think about feminine characters as a whole, feminine characters, mothers, are able to feed their children, their babies, through breast milk. So it actually is very meaningful when it comes in with these heavy feminine symbolisms as well, that there's this really strong essence of nurturing and of having a big heart chakra. So that might be something your way, pile number one, that this next month could feel very passionate. It could feel very full in your heart, whether you have a relationship or not, that there is going to be something you're creating, whether you're in a relationship or not. You could be working towards the growth in that relationship, or you could be working towards the growth even with yourself. So this is a general reading, so we can't get too far into determining that, but we will continue. Here we have the Elder card, move beyond ancestral patterns. So pile number one, February 2021 is a time of reflection. It's a time of looking inward, and we have the being gentle with yourself. You're looking inward. Usually when something spiritual happens, there is inward growth, and then that inward growth really influences like some kind of outward growth or expansion. So it's like you're going through this phase of inward growth because you're being called to look at the subliminal messages, look at the subconscious messages, look in your ancestry, identify what has been going on, what kind of patterns have been happening, and to determine for yourself what is the best path for you. So what I'm getting from your pile is this sense of kind of retreating in February 2021 and creating things. So you tend to be one of those piles that's more outwardly expressive. So by no means do you need to withdraw any of your sense of communication with the outer world, but this is just saying that now is a time to look within, take upon more of those feminine receptive qualities and those identifying symbolisms within your past. It's a time of spiritual growth. We have the Akasha coming up next. Your guidance is divinely guided. I love this card a lot because Akasha is believed to be like a sort of records, like Akashic records, meaning the way the world works, the way humanity works, the way the universe works. It's really to say a form of unity is what I get from this word, and it's what I get from comparing it to Akashic records and understanding or thinking about what patterns create those Akashic records, those ways of the world, the ways of the universe. So you're being guided, you're being told by your guides, your ancestors right now, that you're on a good path. They're going to nurture you and provide you with love. They're going to nurture and provide you with inspiration. They're going to nurture you and provide you with insight. All it needs, what does it need? What does group one need? Let's find out and see if we can draw that from our cards here. We have some astrology cards coming in. We have the 8th house of like endings, 8th house of like kind of like a 8th house of a 2/3 sort of a way, a very trial and tribulation sort of way, Pluto kind of energy, which can be very confused sometimes or misleading. Uranus being the planet of the outer, the eccentric one. So when we have the 8th house and Uranus coming in here, I'm kind of getting the sense that a part of who you are, who you have been in the past, is going to be left behind. That's what I'm getting with the 8th house. A part of who you are is going to be left behind with all these insights and self-nurturance. With all that, you might be leaving something behind, and it's not a bad thing at all. It might in fact even be you're leaving behind like a job, a partner, all these things that are not serving you in the right way. You might be leaving them behind with your spiritual growth. That's kind of what I'm getting with the 8th house. And keep in mind, again, this is a general reading, so I'm not saying anything is going to be ending that is going well. I'm specifically saying that through your enlightenment, you are finding things that aren't serving you to release, whatever that may be for you. We have the Uranus card, so I'm also getting this sense that you're in a state of transformation too. You're moving into being a little more eccentric, a little bit more different. And this kind of goes hand in hand with the creativity. With the creativity, the creative spark, we get the sense that you should be sharing those creative insights, that now is the time that you're leaving perhaps even fears, self-doubts behind, so that you can evolve into this very unique, eccentric individual led by your own way of being, your own way of viewing the world. So perhaps that resonates with you. We'll see if this last one here, another tarot card, can help clarify with the Queen of Cups. What is coming for you in February 2021? Well, with Queen of Cups, cups are very emotional. Cups are very emotionally fulfilled when it is the Queen. Cups are very intuitive even. Cups are very able to feel a lot. So when I see the Queen of Cups, it's tying right into the heart chakra energy again, because we know that our water signs tend to be nurturers. They tend to have a lot of feelings, and so I kind of get this sense that like maybe you are a water sign, or maybe you have some water signs in your astrological chart, your birth chart. Or maybe this is just a very strong nurturing aspect that could be coming from, say, like an earth sign, with the emphasis on the heart chakra, and that emotional center is being represented by the Queen of Cups. So I'm kind of feeling you may be an earth or water sign, or maybe it's just this time of 2021 that is going to be very fulfilling for you. It's going to be a very emotional time, and not necessarily in a bad sense, although there might be some kind of tears of sadness with the loss of what is happening in the 8th house. But we're going to have so much to gain. There's going to be so much insight gained on the spiritual journey. Your cup is going to be filled in February 2021. Your wishes will be fulfilled. Whatever it is that you've been working towards, you're going to get a big cup of it in February 2021. All right, group number 1, I hope this helped. If you enjoyed this reading, please like and subscribe down below, and stay tuned. We'll see you again in a future reading. Bye. Hi, pile number 2. If you chose pile number 2, then this reading is for you to determine what is coming your way in February 2021. So let's get started pulling out our cards, and we're going to start out with our larger cards and end with our astrology and tarot cards. We have coming up first, Garnet, upside down, purification and detoxification. So right away, this tells me that you may be either going through a stage of detoxifying yourself and having some difficulties with it, or perhaps there's others in your immediate environment, say a partner who is working on detoxifying, or you're helping them, you're trying to get them to move towards it. Number two being a very partner sort of characteristic, a very balanced sort of characteristic. It might be that you're seeking your balance, and this is an area of focus for you. Let's see if our other cards can help us figure out this message. We have spiritual protection. We have you're being watched over and protected physically, emotionally, and energetically. So this is letting you know that you're not alone on this journey. You're not alone on this journey of transformation, of healing. You have lots of guides, angels, ancestors by your side, spiritual protection, helping you along the way, keeping you motivated, keeping you inspired, helping you when things are getting a little bit tough. And I also just want to say this is not to make anyone feel targeted in any sort of sense, because there's so many different ways that this purification and detoxification card can go. For example, perhaps you might be cleaning up your diet. Perhaps that means that you're thinking more consciously about your food and what you're consuming. Perhaps it means you're going through a transition from even eating like fast food and now going vegan. It could be something of this sort. So this is not just to say that it's like alcohol or that it's cigarettes, which is what we usually sometimes can assume about detoxification. But there's so many different ways to look at what substances are, and perhaps you're starting to think more about it from a spiritual sense. Perhaps now you're starting to think like, okay, perhaps maybe I don't want to eat the animal meat anymore because I don't know how this animal lived or how it passed on. So perhaps you might be thinking more about food in a spiritual sort of sense, and perhaps that is the purification that's happening. Let's see what else we have here. We have 21 Alliance coming up. So you being a number 2, pile number 2, you could be seeking that alliance. You could already have it. You could have a very close relationship, or perhaps even like a roommate, someone who just kind of pulls you through, almost like either like a very close partner who also fits the bill of being a best friend, or like a roommate who also fits the bill of helping you out with personal matters. So this alliance card is like there's some kind of growth that's happening from your alliances or from your close relationships, some kind of growth. Perhaps for some of you it could even be implying children or some sort of exponential growth. I see that because of the number 2 and the 1. I'm kind of thinking that 2 equals 1, or 2 creates 1, as a sort of indicator that maybe for some of you it could be indicating pregnancy or family growth, getting another member in the family through your alliance, your close partnerships and relationships. What else do we have coming for you in February 2021? We have adaptability, number 1. So it's like there's some kind of changes that may be going on in your environment, and that you're being able to adapt through it, or your guides are letting you know that your adaptability skills will be needed to be called to the forefront, that you may be going through some matters in the month ahead that are going to need you to be adaptable and need you to maintain those alliances. You naturally feel called to those things, so this is a good message that you're on the right path. We have the Sky Father, trust in the unknown, coming up. I really appreciate like this masculine energy coming up right now, because it's like creating this sense of balance, which is what you're all about. With pile number 2, you're about balance, and this masculinity is balancing out the femininity. We have trust in the unknown. So it's like, while these things are while your partnerships are pretty solid, your partnerships are really solid, in your family, in your environment, you cherish those relationships. And this is saying, this Sky Father is saying, trust in the unknown, because there are things that are not so known or as stable as those partnerships, those alliances. There's things that are not so stable, and this is where the need for being adaptable is coming in. Would you look at what we have coming next? We have the Medicine Mother card. Honor your inner knowing. I love that, love that, love that. Again, side by side, feminine and masculine. And it's not just any feminine or any masculine. We're talking about the Sky Father, we're talking about a regal status for a man. A very expansive and powerful, and all encompassing. The sky surrounds us. And then we're talking about the Medicine Mother, someone who is deeply tapped into their inner knowing. So it's like we have the Sky Father, very expansive and out there, masculine. And then we have the duality, the inner mother, the woman who looks for answers within. So we have this like balance right now where you're honoring your inner knowing, and that inner knowing is what propels you in the outer world, the spaces where you're not exactly sure what is going to happen because there's all these other variables in the environment. Versus here, the environment is very controlled when you're with yourself. So it's like you're finding a balance. You're all about finding balance, and it looks like this February 2021, you're finding that balance. Mirror, who or what is triggering you? So it looks like in order to get balanced even further, this is where the adaptability comes in again, is identifying what is triggering you. Because we're comparing again those times when we're by ourselves and those times when we're surrounded by more variables in the environment. What or who is triggering you? So maybe when we're in this inner state by ourselves, we're thinking about what happened in that external environment where the variables were numerous, and we're trying to figure out which variable is the one that had an impact on you, that made you act out, react in a way that you might not have wanted to. You're being called right now to look at it just as this woman is looking in this reflective surface, perhaps water, perhaps a mirror. You're looking into what it is. And it can be very challenging when we're looking in and we're identifying what it is, but it can also be very rewarding to have that awareness to learn from. So I also have some astrology cards coming in. Let's see if we can get more messages on what is coming for you February 2021 with the last quarter moon card and Neptune. So last quarter moon all being about the final stages before a renewal of the cycle of the moon cycles. So this is a time of release. It's a time of letting go of the physical attachments to move more into the realms of the subconscious, which ties just as perfectly well into Neptune. Neptune being the divine feminine, it's like love to a whole nother level. It's like the love of Venus to a whole nother level. It's like comparing a master number to its base roots. Neptune is like that on a whole nother level. So it's the subconscious to the next level. It's love to the next level. So it's like right now is the time really to release those unwanted attachments, to let go of maybe like fear and doubt, so that you can trust in the unknown when you're in the depths of the subconscious. And so I have this last tarot card. Let's see if it can help clarify and pull our message together. We have Two of Wands in reverse. Wands being a fast moving energy, and two is perfect because you're a pile number 2, right? You chose pile number 2. So I get the sense that you're very aware at this moment now of your desires, your innate desires for balance, and that's what you're seeking. It's like you're always seeking it, just like this woman. But yet perhaps maybe, see, she's actively seeking. She's very stable, but she's actively seeking. So when this goes in reverse, it's almost like this is Spirit saying, don't get too stuck. Keep looking out. Trust in the unknown. Keep exploring the subconscious. Don't get stuck. Don't get upside down. We want to be like this woman. We want to be actively looking out while we're still stable. We don't want it necessarily to we don't want our lack of inquiry, our lack of discovery to lead us to instability. We want to actively work towards the subconscious, actively release which doesn't serve, so that we can have some sort of balance of looking out to the future while feeling very grounded in the present moment. Wands are also a spiritual card, or a spiritual suit. So to have this upside down and this right side up is kind of a balancing act in itself. So, but it also might imply that sometimes you feel balanced and sometimes you feel balanced and sometimes you don't. So we just want to be aware that maybe you can rely more on those alliances, those partnerships, those relationships to be the stability in your life that makes you feel expansive, those roots that dig you down deep so that you can grow up from. So there's some sort of quest for balance happening in February 2021 for you, and you're going to find it by trusting your intuition and just diving in for it. I hope this helped pile number 2. If it did, please like and subscribe down below, and I look forward to seeing you again in a future reading. Bye, take care. Hi, pile number 3. If you chose pile number 3, then this reading is for you to find out what is coming your way February 2021. So I'm going to pull out our cards and let's see what our larger cards are first, and we'll follow it up with tarot and with astrology. So we have Malachite coming in, prosperity. So you're going to be feeling some prosperity in the month ahead. You have clearly been planting seeds in the form of prayers, in the form of intentions, and now is the time to start receiving those blessings in more of a physical form, a positive shift in your flow of divine support. So you're going to be feeling very abundant in February 2021. There's going to be an increase in support. Clearly, you've been networking. You've been reaching out to other people. You've been following up in areas where you might have cut people off or forgot to return those messages. And you're going to start receiving rewards because you've been following up during those times when it might have felt kind of uncomfortable for falling out in a sense with some certain individuals, maybe business partners, maybe clients, maybe colleagues. Whatever this means, this is more of a business or work sort of partnership is kind of what I'm getting here when we're combining prosperity with increased support. So you're going to keep on giving in the month ahead, and when you give, then the more you receive in tenfold. So you're just going to keep on receiving support because you've planted these seeds. We have humor in reverse. So it looks to me like you might have started to maybe get a little frantic with like planting the seeds or trying to make something happen, that you might actually be missing some of the fun that originally drew you perhaps to those works, to the profession, to the job, to those business partnerships, the relationships. So you're being called by Spirit to reflect on the pure, simple pleasures of life, that which naturally, initially drew you to it. You're being called to just enjoy the simple pleasures. Find some humor in it. Lift your spirits. Because when we become very fixated on something, then we can overlook the simple pleasures of what originally drew us to something. We also have the future, which is upside down. So this kind of tells me that you might have feelings of being stuck, and that's why your guides are telling you right now that you're receiving the support that you need. You're receiving the prosperity that you need. You have been fixated perhaps on the present or the past, perhaps in some of your partnerships or some of the events that have been happening in your life lately. Perhaps they've led you to think more of this present moment, and perhaps they're like digging up the past, and you're ready to move towards the future, but for those reasons you're clinging on back here and not able to see the future, which is why your guides are telling you you're going to get the support, you're going to feel prosperous, you're going to be prosperous, to relax a little bit and to keep envisioning the future, to propel forward. Keep envisioning the future, keep finding the simple pleasures. We have Peacekeeper coming up. Let go of the need to be right. So it appears that maybe in your life right now, there's been some sort of opposition. Why opposition? Well, we've got 2 cards that are in reverse and 2 cards that are right side up. So it's like there's some kind of like conflict of interest going on. Perhaps you're being influenced by those in your environment who don't have your best interests at heart. And perhaps they're starting to askew your vision from that purity that you really hold within. So even though your viewpoint is very unique, even though it's not being actively supported perhaps by those in your environment. Spirit is saying that there are individuals, there are soul family connections that are happening from this. You will receive prosperity and abundance for taking these risks. However, you do not need to be right all of the time. Even though pile number 3 tends to be a creative communicator, and they tend to have a good understanding usually of what's happening in the world because they communicate, they create. Even though there are these gifts with a pile number 3, other people might have a hard time with the free expansiveness of number 3. So other people say, like, even numbers, for example, might be kind of like, I don't know. And this is just saying, Spirit is just saying that you're not going to be able to get in the shell of these other people by demonstrating your rights, or the by actively pursuing or like prominently saying your opinion right away. Spirit is saying that the way you're going to get in to the individuals that need your help the most is by calling the peace, by being the peacekeeper, by taking a neutral standpoint, and by gently suggesting what you feel is right, but not being an attacker, being more of a feminine caregiver, a matriarch is what I get. Letting go of the need to be right, finding a way to bring us all back together. And that I feel is a really important message, because sometimes we can feel like we're doing something right and we know the right answer, but there's others in our environment who are not compatible with our way of being or seeing things. And so we're releasing the need to prove a point to them, and we're just going to let it be, because we cherish those partnerships, we cherish the balance. So it's not saying that we're going to be passive and let people push us over, but it's going to say that we're going to be gentle and find a gentle way to react when faced with opposition. Next card coming up, we have the Hermit, Retreat and Recharge. I really love that card because, again, this is saying, this is a confirmation from Spirit that other people in your environment have been influencing you, have been kind of stalling you out, and you're going to be able to reset yourself by withdrawing within. Again, there's other people in your environment who feel like they want to get the last word in, and you have got to be the one to go back, meditate on it, and truly know within what the right answer is for yourself. It no longer matters if they're wrong or they're right. What matters is the feeling of us being with ourselves, with yourself, in the moment, fully accepting and aware. Dance with life. So it's like you're choosing some non-verbal ways of expressing yourself in February 2021, and that's really what's going to benefit you. Because once again, there's some sort of opposition thing happening. So finding some non-verbal ways of connecting with other people, perhaps through meditation, perhaps through dance. Those are ways that you're going to be finding those soul connections and gaining the support. When you put your non-verbal ways of expression out there, that's how people really connect with you. That's how you're receiving the compassion back in return. Dance your life. Do something to change your energy. If talking isn't working, then maybe art is, maybe yoga will, maybe dance will. So let's find out, let's get some clarification from our astrology cards. We have 9th house coming in and the sun. Oh my gosh, and just look at the warmth, the warm glow of both of these visuals. And let's think about the 9th house. 9th house being affiliated to Sagittarius energy, to go-getter energy, to shoot the arrow energy. It's very out there. It's not like your home base or your roots in the opposite house of the 4th. It's more of your expansive travel far and beyond. Go get that education, go explore and learn from foreign places. That's what the 9th house is. And with the sun being in combination with the 9th house, it's like this is that warmth. It's like this is your identity, your ego. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, because sometimes people can hear the word ego and think, uh-oh, it's a division, it's something I don't want to be in. But this, in this sense, it could even be like it's bringing it to light. Perhaps you've been feeling more called lately to pursue higher education, to travel abroad, to trace your ancestry and visit those places. Perhaps you are drawing parts of your identity to the surface and acting on them in very foreign or out there sort of ways. So I really love the combination of those cards. Let's see if the 8 of Wands, our next tarot card, which is the 8 of Wands, can help piece together this puzzle for us, this message. So 8 of Wands, Wands being very fast-paced, very spiritual. It's like, wow. Spirit has said you're on the go. You are on the go. We have the 8 of Wands, which is, I mean, look at the visual. She's taking off on the road in a foreign place. She's out there. No one else is around. Reminding me of the Hermit card, right? And then also of like pilgrimages. Pilgrimages are when some sort of growth or abundance happens from it. Some sort of growth, some sort of development from spiritual into actuality, the physical. So we have this strong sense of being divinely guided to go on a journey. And we're getting that with both the 8 of Wands and the 9th house of travel, higher education. So in foreign lands. So you might be called and you might be acting on it actively in February 2021. You're going to be bringing those passions and those pursuits to light and actively working on them in February 2021. I hope this helped. Pile number 3. If it did, please like and subscribe down below. And I look forward to seeing you again soon for a future reading. Take care. Bye.